Yo, what's going on guys? Jared here. Today I have a new deck profile for you, and this is going to be Infernoble Nights after the new ban list for July 1st, 2024. This is a huge hit without Isolde in the deck now. We now have to deter and go for different strategies and combo lines, and a lot of 2-card combos rather than the standard 2-warrior, 1-card combo with connector and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to show this to you and show a lot of the options that you can play in this deck now as well, because now we actually have a lot more room than I remember there being because of the loss of Isolde. So I just want to jump right into it, and if you enjoy, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, let's just get right into it. Okay guys, so this is my current deck list after losing Isolde in the last ban list. I know it looks a little weird, some of the number ratios are off, but it doesn't look too much different than what it used to be, right? A lot of this is still the same. I know I have gone through so many videos of what people are trying and testing out and what is working and what is not working. I know Pack did the super heavy samurai line, going into a free level 5 off these. I saw another video using the right of Armor engine because you have a level 4 Fire Warrior that you can special summon with it, and obviously you can get Griffin Rider to play around hand traps as well. My point being is that there's a lot of different avenues that you can take this deck. The problem with both of these engines, in my opinion, is that they both come along with their own set of bricky cards. There's cards in this that you do not want to draw, that you cannot get out of your hand and get any value off of, which is very frustrating to me. On top of this, we also have other cards that I saw some people were considering, where some people were trying to squeeze Lib in here, or Ib. Just don't do that. If you're making a level 5 synchro, the only one you should be making is Angelica. I think the Upstart, Pot, and Prosperity, there could be builds where these are all playable. It just depends on how you make your deck in the deck building process. I think the safer bet is Prosperity, because you really don't use that many extra deck slots when you're doing your combo in this. So you could easily Prosperity for 3 or 6 and still be fine. You will only lose out on either the Wanted draw or the Magius draw. Again, these are important things, but it's to be able to get that much consistency in a deck. Prosperity is obviously like a ban-worthy card, so I think the pros can outweigh the cons in certain scenarios, right? Also, other engines you could play. A Little Vanquish Soul engine. A lot of people I've seen talk about this before in other videos, like I said, while talking and doing research on this. There was a couple of videos that I saw people are playing Stake Your Soul to summon out Ryzen, and then you play a Little Vanquish Soul engine to be able to get a Fire Warrior out for free and get some different types of interruptions and different packages. You could also even play like something like Burger, so you can get the extra draws too. It's all, like, there's so many avenues that you can take this. There's also the Mikanko engine, where you can play going second, and you can play the Mikanko equip spell to summon out High Ray and then go into try to get into a level 5 synchro from her, because she's also a free summon. So again, multiple avenues. Currently in this list, I am not playing Red Layer. I know this probably should be in here because it still does the same job as it did before the ban list, which was beat over SP Little Knight. But as of now, just making the deck work as I want it to. It is currently out, but I most likely will be going back in eventually. But this also depends on the format, right? If it's full of Labyrinth and Vanadium, they're not making SP Little Knight that much anyway. So Red Layer could be may not be the right choice to play it. Other cards I saw being played now was Courageous Crimson Chevalier. This card is very interesting. I'm not a big fan of it because you don't really need an equip. And I think if you are still forcing this deck to play Angelica after Isolde's ban, I think you're kind of coping too hard on the ring, because it is like a trap in my eyes in deck building, because you're playing a brick now, because Angelica's ring is a brick. It is definitely a brick. For when you're already comboing, you should still be winning anyway. I feel like you should have enough interruptions in your board regardless, where you don't really need it. The format's not going to be defined enough where these like massive board breakers are going to be played. And even if they are played, none of the decks are overpowered or oppressive enough where they're just going to outright kill you, except for Vanadium. And I don't know if they're going to be playing stuff like Super Poly to be able to break the board that you're going to be making anyway. So with all that being said, there were some other minor changes that I could mention, like Fire Flint Lady not being in the deck anymore because you can't go into Isolde anymore, right? So Fire Flint Lady's purpose has kind of gone down in that regard. So anyway, I want to get right into the actual deck list now after talking about all the other variations and options that you have while playing this deck. Again, this is just what I like personally right now. Which is still the one of like all the Fire Warrior monsters. We have the one Gearfried, one Renaud, one Magius, one Oliver, one Ricargetto, one Turpin, one Sublimation Knight, and one Ogier. I like this ratio a lot, because you just don't, like, there's so many cards that you have to play that work for different combos that you need in certain scenarios. And this is like while you're free playing through hand traps, playing through a board, and you need these different types of cards for those scenarios. and I can't bring myself to play more of any of them because they all can either brick. A lot of them are also just normal summons by themselves, and I would rather save my normal summon for one of these or like Rise Heart than use it on something that I find suboptimal or basing the deck around of, right? Like something like Connector, when it was in the deck, that was like your normal summon. That was like your dedicated normal summon. But if you drew like Connector plus like Magius plus like, I don't know, like Turpin or Ogier or something, or like Gearfried even, you're just like stuck with like too many cards in your hand that can't do anything. And it just really, really sucks when that happens. Now, I don't want to get stuck in scenarios like that. I want as many cards in my hand be alive as possible. And I think a build like this sets it up for that way. Moving on to some of the equip spells, it's just going to be 1 Joyous, 1 Almace, and I have 3 Durandal down here. Almace and Joyous are both in here still because recursion is very important. And having not a lot of Infernoble Arms names is kind of scary sometimes, especially when you have to summon Gearfried. And if you don't have Durandal in circulation in the graveyard, Gearfried can kind of just like suck it up, and then you can't use your Charles effect in the end phase. So Almace is in here for like a good extra Infernoble Arms to put in the graveyard. And then Joyous I want here as a variety because this card can still be an extender, surprisingly. Not people know that. And it comes up sometimes. This card has saved me multiple times. I really like it. I just like it in the deck. And it fits really, really well. 3 copies of Heritage of the Chalice and the Rhoda, of course. Multiple ways to search. Just like super consistent still, of course. For the Wanted package, we have 3 Wanted, 1 Original Sinful Spoils, and now I upped it to 3 Diabell Star. So this kind of goes along with the logic of how I want this deck to be made, which is my main combo, which I'm going to show at the end of the video because I think it's the combo still works perfectly fine, and it's still a disgusting combo. So I wanted to show it to you guys because it's so good. Even without Isolde, you don't need it. But this is like really, really strong. I want my deck to play Yu-Gi-Oh! The best that it can play possible. Does that make sense? Like I want the most things live. That's why I have Fenrir in here. Like Fenrir is an outstanding card in these like undefined formats. It baits out stuff. Same thing applies with Diabell Star. Diabell Star is so good at just being good at playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So I really like them. I really don't see myself like wanting to change this. Like you obviously, like before the ratio was 1 Diabell, you can definitely cut it down if you want to, but as of right now, this is like my go-to combo. 3 Museum, of course, is like the best extender card in the deck. 3 Durandal, like I said, 3 Fenrir, very strong. 1 Rise Heart. I want to be able to search for Fire Warrior off my Fenrirs. And then 9, I have 9 non-engine slots right now, which is 3 Bell, 3 Ash, and 3 Droll. This is very strictly for Labyrinth and Vanadium. I'm especially Labyrinth, I am more geared towards because all of these cards affect that deck a little bit. But Droll like definitely like hits it harder, and Ash and Bell are really, really strong against Labyrinth, obviously. So that's it for the main deck. Going to the extra deck, we have 2 Angelica, 1 Baron, 1 Captain Roland, and then 2 Charles. This is more for late game stuff because you can't. Sometimes your boards might not be as strong as they were, or they might be broken easier because you don't have Angelica's ring. So you need more follow-up. But I'm confident that you're not going to get OTK'd in this format either. I'm like fairly confident. So like I think this is fine. Like you just like make a board. It's strong enough to stop enough stuff from your opponent where they're not going to OTK you, but they might be able to clear the board. But their crackback is going to be very minor, and then you just push through with like the second Charles going into more Emperor Charles and stuff like that. Because Charles himself is still a powerhouse going second, so I think this is still really, really strong. 2 Emperor Charles still, 2 SP Little Knight because this card is just broken in so many ways. Just really, really strong. Again, this is not a budget deck. This is just like the way I see this deck right now. 1 Link Spider. This is for Nibiru to still make Little Knight. 1 IP Masquerena. There is some like cool interactions with IP where you can like use IP to then go and link off the Diabell to then use her again, because if it's sent to the graveyard during your opponent's turn, you can be able to bring it back, which I really like. Just like a little cool interaction that I'm a fan of. That's all. So yeah, like and then still make SP Little Knight, of course. 1 Anima, because you can still do the level 1 plays to bait out stuff and then go in the Little Knight. 1 Tifon, card that no one sees coming sometimes. You can just punish people. And 1 Dempsey I still have in here. I'm not sold on Dempsey yet. You are able to change this if you want to. Personally, it's like hit or miss. You don't really need it, but if you want it in here, you can. It's just nice to be able to search for another card if you need to. So that's it for the main deck. I'm really focused on this deck being able to play good Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't want to play all these unnecessary bricks that I'm seeing online. It's like, not frustrating, but kind of frustrating at the same time. So, but yeah, I like this deck a lot, and let me just show you the combo really quickly because I'm a big fan of this combo. Okay, guys, so this is going to be the combo really quickly. Again, this is based off like Diabell plus Durandal. Really, really strong, and like I think you can play like a lot of copies of these cards, and sometimes Fenrir can also work as Black Witch if you have like an extra extender. So it's really, really good still. Like it's the best way I can describe it. So I just really wanted to play this, and I'll show you what I mean. So we are going to start with the Black Witch and special summon her, and we're going to send one of these random cards, use her effect to set the original Sinful Spoils. And then from here, we are going to use the Durandal on her, send it away, and be able to search. So here we are going to search the one of Sublimation Knight. If there was another card I wanted to play more of in this deck, it would be Sublimation Knight, because this is my favorite normal summon in the deck because of the Fenrir and the Diabells. So here you can normal summon the Sublimation Knight to equip the Turpin. Just remember, Sublimation Knight is no longer a one-card combo with something like Squeak Knight. This card is acting as a level 3 tuner because if Turpin's equipped, it becomes a tuner, but at the same time, you're also getting Turpin out of the deck, so it's acting like OGR at the same time. So you get like the benefit of both, right? So yeah, now it's a level 3 tuner. You are able to just synchro summon into Baron. So now you're at a point where you're already playing under Nib. It's like super important how early you're getting to this. So now like from here, you can continue to combo pretty much because now you can activate Turpin in Graveyard to equip it to Baron. And then you can activate Original to send away, and then special summon Ricargetto. And then from here, you're off to the races, right? Because now you're at the point where you're you are getting to Angelica, and Angelica by itself is just like ridiculous amount of value and advantage. So you can get to Angelica, and then you can activate Angelica's effect. And this is going to search the museum. From here, a lot of people don't know this still for some reason, but you are able to use Baron to 4 to target the Angelica and then activate the Angelica to banish itself and then do the combo this way. A lot of people don't know that, surprisingly, but just something to keep in mind. Don't forget that. Really important. So yeah, you can do Angelica, summon Roland, and then we are going to send Gearfried. From here, we're able to activate Museum, use the effect, pay 1200, and search. And from here, we can add our Almace. And then we can go activate the Almace on the Roland, and then we are able to special back our Turpin. We are able to synchro the Roland and the Turpin to go into our Charles. Activate our Almace effect to add back Gearfried. Use the Roland effect in the graveyard to equip, and then link summon into our Emperor Charles the Great. Use Charles to summon back out this Charles. And then you are able to summon out Gearfried by banishing one of these equip spells. We'll just do Almace. And then yeah, and from here, this is pretty much your end board. Keep in mind, you also did not use the Museum special, so if you want to, you can summon out this Charles for like just follow up next turn. But you really don't have to. This is more of just like something you can do as an option. I am a fan of just like if you didn't use it earlier in the combo as an extender, just leaving it because you would just have like that much more interruption. But I mean, again, it's up to you. Just I wanted you to know all the lines that you can do with this combo. And then during the end phase, you are able to activate Charles effect to equip, and then you can equip the Magius from deck, and then use the Charles to destroy the Magius, and then use his effect, and then you can shuffle back in the Turpin, the Almace, and you can do Ricargetto or Sub Knight. We'll do Sub Knight because I like Ricargetto in Graveyard, and then get our extra draw after shuffling. And then our Angelica comes back. So this is pretty much where we're ending the board here. This is still a 4 interruption board. Really strong. You're doing it under Nibiru still, which is very important. So this line was not hurt that badly from the ban list. Again, this didn't use Isolde really anyway. It wasn't that big of a deal. But just keep in mind that if you have a extra equip spell, or if you have an extra guy in Graveyard, you are able to special summon this Charles, equip it with a new equip spell, and then make a second Charles the Great to just like, you know, because it's free, like it's literally just free. You don't like have to do a lot of work, and then just like it's even more negates. So yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. I think it's really, really strong still. I definitely don't think this deck is dead. It did hurt because now you have like your paths to combo are now down to like 1. Like it's like pretty much always through Angelica. So that does hurt, but I do not think this deck is dead by any means. This deck is still very strong, and obviously it can still produce very scary boards, and there's so many different engines that you can play with this deck. So mess around with it, find out what you guys think is the best one. Let me know down below what you think is the best engine, because I'm just seeing way too many bricks in these decks. I feel like it happens at the start of every format. Everyone is just trying a million things and throwing a million bricks in all their decks, and it drives me nuts. So let me know what you guys think down below. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe if you did, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.